Hello everybody, it's Sarah, and today I am here again with a review, and that review is going to be Magnus Chase and the Sword of Summer by Reveiw, who is also the author of the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. This book I did not like very much. I kind of enjoyed it, but at the same time I really didn't like it, and I just wanted to finish it. For me, sometimes if I'm not like, oh my god, this is so boring, I don't want to continue with this book at all, but if I'm just like, meh, I will push through a book. And that is what happened with this book for me. And honestly, only the last 50 pages kind of saved it. Otherwise, I would not pick up the second book in this series. This is going to be a spoiler-free review, and I'll start with a bit of a summary. So, Magnus Chase is the cousin of Annabeth Chase, who is the kind of female lead in the Percy Jackson books. One day, Magnus dies, which is not a spoiler because it literally happens in the first 10 pages. And he is resurrected, kind of, and finds out that his father is actually a Norse god, and his father lost a sword one day, and to prevent Ragnarok, which is like the Viking end of the world, he has to find the sword and prevent stuff from happening. That's basically it for the summary. Now, maybe my main problem with this book is that I started it right after I finished The Heroes of Olympus, because this book is very similar to the Percy Jackson series, both of them. Magnus Chase just seems like a washed out copy of Percy. He has the same quirks, the same sentences. He also has this thing where he doesn't understand the Norse words, which Percy has with the Greek words, and he says some stupid funny stuff instead. And first of all, that got really annoying for me after some time, because it was okay with Percy. It didn't happen as often as in this book, but literally the only thing that saved this book for me was the sword. The only thing. And I don't know, the plot and the characters really seemed like the same stuff from The Heroes of Olympus, and again, maybe I wouldn't have felt that way if I hadn't read The Heroes of Olympus directly before that. Then there was the problem that suddenly we have two different pantheons in the same world. We have the Norse gods and the Greek gods. Greek gods aren't mentioned in this book. And that wouldn't be a problem for me, but what I would like is an explanation why it is that way. I mean, in the Percy Jackson books, we have the Greek pantheon, Zeus and everything, and we have the Roman pantheon as well, but that's explained why there's the Roman pantheon as well. And we are led to believe that the Greek mythology is right about the way the world was built and constructed. But suddenly we have the Norse gods, and they have their own mythology, how the world came to be, and now that is right as well. But we have to decide what's right and what's wrong. Then there was the thing with the mythology. I love Norse mythology almost as much as I love Greek mythology. But in the Percy Jackson series, Reveiw manages to retell Greek mythology and put his own twist to it. This right here seemed like dull retellings. Maybe it's more fun if you don't know Norse mythology, but then again, I'm probably not fair to this book, because in terms of a Rick Riordan book, it has to keep up with Percy Jackson. And if you love Rick Riordan as much as I love Anne Bishop, for example, Anne Bishop, for me, she can write the same story over and over and over again, and I won't care, because I love her writing and I love her as an author. And for me, that's not the deal with Rick Riordan. But if Rick Riordan is one of your favorite authors, you probably wouldn't care as much if he wrote the same or very similar stories over and over again. But for me, there was just not enough difference between the characters in this book and the characters in the Percy Jackson series. And also, in terms of a retelling of Norse mythology, this book had to keep up with, what's it called? The Gospel of Loki by Joanne M. Harris, which is just a fantastic, amazing book. You should all go and read it. It's a retelling of Norse mythology from Loki's point of view. And that was also another problem I had with this book. I didn't like how it portrayed Loki. I'm just very particular about that, because Loki is my favorite god from all the Pantheons ever, which is a strange thing to say, because basically he's an evil guy, but I think he is a vastly misunderstood character. I really don't know what else I should say about this book. The jokes were fun. I had a smile on my face most of the time, but for me, that's just not enough. I wasn't invested in the characters, I wasn't invested in the story. I like the two, like, sidekicks. But otherwise, it's not even to say it's a bad book, but for me personally, it wasn't enough. And go read it if you like Rick Riordan. You will probably like this book. I would probably suggest you wait a bit if you just finished the Heroes of Olympus. But otherwise, yeah, I'll give the second book a chance, and if it doesn't get better, I will probably set this series aside. And I'm just really disappointed, because I loved all of Rick Riordan's books so far, or at least I like them a lot. And so it was just like, I was on a high concerning Rick Riordan, and now I'm on a low. And I'll probably let it rest a little bit before I continue on with any of his books. And with that said, if you have read Magnus Chase, tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And tell me if you liked any of Rick Riordan's other books, although I think probably everybody liked them. And I hope I'll see you soon. Kiss, kiss!